On my birthday, my sister's daughter snapped her cranberry mocktail into a perfect arc and hissed, "Now you look as cheap as you really are." The red soaked into my cream silk like a bruise. I didn't cry, I smiled, but inside something finally broke. I've always been the responsible one. I left our hometown, built a career in Chicago, climbed from assistant to executive because I outworked everyone. My mother calls it luck. My sister calls it showing off. Yet every month I quietly paid the emergency. Credit card I added my sister to, designer handbags, spa days, restaurants. When my niece turned 16, I bought her a safe sedan registered to me, insured by me. "You can use it," I said, and her mouth twisted at the word use. That night, I reserved a private room at the city's most exclusive restaurant. I wore the one dress I saved months for. My friends arrived on time with warmth and kindness. My family arrived late, already annoyed. My mother tutted about traffic. My sister scanned the room like she was tallying the bill. My niece texted under the table bare midriff and a bored stare. We tried. Polite questions, small compliments, but the cut split in anyway. "Must be nice, my sister. Some of us have real responsibilities." "People are starving," my niece muttered, eyeing the courses. I took a breath. "I've been saving for your college," I told my niece softly. "It's in a trust, not huge, but silence." My mother frowned. My sister's jaw set. My niece's eyes sharpened. "So you sat on money while we struggled," my sister snapped. "It's for her education," I said. "Not for handbags, not for weekends away. Always the savior." My sister smeared. Dessert arrived. A small work of art and a sparkler. Just as my niece stood. She lifted her glass. I remember the cold first-to-gas-to-camera phones. "Now you look cheap," she smirked. My mother patted her hand. "Teenagers?" She sighed like I'd spilled it on myself. I dabbed the red from my lashes and told the staff it was fine. I hugged my friends. At the door, my cheeks burning, my spine very straight. At home, I hung the dress in my bathroom, a flag, a warning. Then I opened my laptop, one call. Remove the authorized user. New card, new number. Second call, a tow, 7:30 a.m. High school lot. Registration and insurance emailed. Third call, my advisor. Stop the automatic transfers. I slept better than I had in years. The morning detonated. Exactly on schedule. 9:52 a.m. My niece, breathless, furious. "My car is gone." "It's my car," I said evenly. "You lost a privilege." "It was a joke." "Humiliation isn't a joke." Click. 8:03 a.m. My sister, the cards declined. Exit. "It's closed," I said. "You're punishing us over a dress. I'm ending a pattern." By noon, the car sat in my building's garage. By 3 dying, they were in my living room. My mother composed, my sister flushed, my niece brittle and pale. I laid out the folders, transfers, statements, insurance. I scrolled to the post my niece made last night. My stained dress zoomed and captioned with laughing emojis my sister liked. My mother tried the script. "Family helps family. Family respects family," I answered. My sister swung for the guilt. "How are we supposed to live within your means?" I said like everyone else. My knees finally cracked. "What about school?" "The college trust remains," I said steady. "Education only. Tuition, books, housing, nothing else." Her chin trembled. "So it's not gone. It was never a toy to dangle." The room went quiet. Something shifted. Small. Real. My mother's eyes softened. My sister's anger turned to calculation, then to something like my niece swallowed and nodded once. I walked them to the door. My niece stood on the threshold, mascara smudged, pride fighting panic. "How am I supposed to get to dance?" she whispered. I pressed the elevator button, met her eyes, and handed her a folded paper. "The bus schedule leaves every 10 minutes. On my birthday, my sister's daughter snapped her cranberry mocktail into a perfect arc and hissed, 'Now you look as cheap as you really are.' The red liquid soaked into my cream silk dress like a bruise. I didn't cry. I smiled. But inside, something finally broke. I've always been the responsible one. I left our small hometown to build a career in Chicago, climbing from assistant to executive because I outworked everyone. My mother calls it luck. My sister calls it showing off. Yet every month I quietly paid the emergency credit card my sister was authorized on. Designer handbags, spa days, expensive restaurants, all funded by me. When my niece turned 16, I bought her a safe sedan, registered and insured in my name. "You can use it," I told her. She twisted her mouth at the word use. That night, I reserved a private room at the city's most exclusive restaurant. I wore the one dress I'd saved for months to buy. My friends arrived on time, bringing warmth and kindness. My family arrived late, already annoyed. My mother tutted about traffic while my sister scanned the room like she was tallying the bill. My niece's texts under the table were sharp. Bare midriff, a bored stare. We tried polite questions, small compliments, but the cuts came anyway. "Must be nice," my sister said. "Some of us have real responsibilities." My niece muttered, "People are starving," eyeing the courses. I sighed. "I've been saving for your college," I told my niece softly. "It's in a trust, not huge, but..." Silence. My mother frowned. My sister's jaw set hard. My niece's eyes sharpened. "So you just sat on the money while we struggled?" My sister snapped back. "It's for her education. Not for handbags. Not for weekends." Away. Always the savior, my sister claimed. Dessert arrived, an artful dish with a sparkler. My niece stood to toast, but instead of warmth, she smirked. "Now you look cheap." My mother patted her hand and sighed. Teenagers. I dabbed the red from my lashes and told the staff it was fine. I hugged my friends goodbye, cheeks burning, spine very straight. At home, I hung the dress in my bathroom like a flag, a warning. Then I opened my laptop. First call. Remove the authorized user. New card, new number. Second call. 7:30 a.m. Hi. School parking lot, registration and insurance emailed. Third call. My advisor. Stop the automatic transfers. For the first time in years, I slept soundly. At exactly 9:52 a.m., my phone buzzed with fury. "My car is gone," my niece breathed. Furious. "It's my car now," I said evenly. "You lost a privilege. It was a joke." "Humiliation isn't a joke," she snapped. Click. At 8:03 a.m., my sister called. "The card's declined," she said. "It's closed," I told her. "You're punishing us over a dress. I'm ending a pattern." By noon, the car sat in my garage. By 3 they were in my living room. My mother composed, my sister flushed with anger, my niece brittle and pale. I laid out folders, transfers, statements, insurance papers. I pulled up the post my niece had made the night before. A zoomed-in photo of my stained dress, captioned with laughing emojis. My sister's favorite. My mother tried the old script. Family helps family. Family respects family. I answered calmly. Family does that, within their means. My sister swung for guilt. "How are we supposed to live within your means?" I replied steadily. "Like everyone else." My knees finally cracked. "What? About school?" "The college trust remains," I said. "Education only. Tuition, books, housing. Nothing else." Her chin trembled. "So it's not gone." It was never a toy to dangle. The room fell silent. Something shifted. Small. Real. My mother's eyes softened. My sister's anger turned to calculation. Then something like acceptance. My niece swallowed hard and nodded once. I walked them to the door. My niece stood on the threshold, mascara smudged, pride fighting panic. "How am I supposed to get to dance?" she whispered. I pressed the elevator. Button met her eyes and handed her a folded paper. "The bus leaves every 10 minutes. Story 2. Last day of my deployment. A voicemail from my daughter. "Dad, Mom's new husband is a cop. He's got the whole family at gunpoint. He said, 'When you get here, he'll make me cuff you before he puts you down.' I swore I'd end him. Then she sobbed, and he made me. He made me burn all your pictures. I boarded the first flight. My Black Ops training kicked in. Nobody makes my daughter cry and lives to tell about it. Chapter 1. The voicemail. The desert heat had baked my skin for months. But that last day of deployment felt different. My gear was packed, my rifle cleaned and stowed. All that was left was the flight home. The moment I'd been replaying in my head every sleepless night. When I checked my phone, I saw her name. Emily, my little girl. The voicemail started with frantic breathing, then her small, cracking voice. Dad. Mom's new husband is a cop. He's got the whole family at gunpoint. He said when you get here, he'll make me cuff you before he puts you down. I stopped walking. The noise of the bass faded into static. My hand tightened around the phone until my knuckles whitened. Then she sobbed again, her voice breaking completely. And he made me. He made me burn all your pictures. The air in my lungs turned to ice. My vision tunneled. She wasn't just scared, she was broken. And I knew exactly what kind of man does. That to a child, I ended the message and dialed her number. No answer, again, no answer. I didn't bother talking to my CO. Just threw my rucksack over my shoulder and headed for the transport. The commercial ticket could wait. I'd find a way onto the first bird home. I wasn't just coming back as a father. I was coming back as the man who'd spent years in the shadows doing things the government didn't admit to. And nobody makes my daughter cry and lives to tell about it. Chapter 2. The flight home and gathering intel. The military transport was cold and loud, the kind of noise that drowns out your thoughts if you let it. But my head was clear, sharp, running through scenarios like I was back in a briefing room. Rule number 1, never walk into an unknown without intel. Rule number 2, hit fast, hit precise, and leave nothing standing that can hit back. By the time the wheels hit U.S. soil, I'd already secured an untraceable burner phone from an old contact, who owed me more than one favor. My second call was to Detective Harris, a cop I'd saved once when an OP went bad overseas. He wasn't the kind to ask questions. When I told him about the voicemail, he went quiet for a moment, then said, "If your ex's new husband is who I think he is, you're in deep. He's dirty, but he's protected. Rumors say he runs a side business. Intimidation jobs, debt collections, maybe worse. If he's got your kid, you've got to move fast. I had already planned on it." "Send me everything," I said. Within an hour, my encrypted inbox was full. Addresses, known associates, routines, even where the bastard liked to drink, and, in between the lines, one crucial detail. He wasn't officially on shift for the next 3 nights, which meant if anything happened, it wouldn't be on the record. I booked a room in a rundown motel 2 towns over, somewhere he wouldn't think to look. From there, I started piecing together the plan. This wasn't just about getting Emily back. This was about sending a message, one he'd never forget, and one that would make sure no one like him ever came near her again. But the next move came from Emily herself. Late that night, my burner buzzed with a single text. "Dad, he's sleeping. I can't talk. Please hurry." I stared at the screen, my jaw tight. She'd given me the opening. Tomorrow night, I was going to walk into his world, and when I left, he wouldn't have one left to stand in. Chapter 3. Infiltration night. The streets were empty, the kind of quiet that only comes before something violent. I parked 3 blocks away, gear packed in a plain black duffel. Nothing flashy, nothing that screamed military, just tools. I moved through the neighborhood like a shadow, slipping past fences and under hedges until I was across the street from their 2-story suburban home. Lights out on the 2nd floor, except one, Emily's room. My pulse steadied. That was my target. I knew the layout. Harris's intel packet included blueprints. Front door leads into a hallway, living room on the left, stairs directly ahead, kitchen through the back. 3 exits, 2 cameras, 1 badly. Mounted floodlight I'd already disabled earlier that evening. I scaled the side fence and slipped into the backyard. Through the sliding glass door, I saw him sprawled on the couch, TV flickering over his face. His service pistol rested on the coffee table next to half a bottle of bourbon. Drunk, overconfident. Good. I slid the door open just enough to slip. Inside, every step silent on the carpet. My boots barely whispered against the fibers. I was halfway across the room when his phone buzzed and my heart stopped for a fraction of a second. He stirred, groaned, then went back to snoring. I made it to the stairs. Emily's door was closed, a thin strip of light beneath it. I knocked, softly, the way I used to when checking on her at night. She cracked it open, eyes wide, then tears filled them when she saw me. "Dad," she whispered. I put a finger to my lips. "Shh, we're leaving." She grabbed her small backpack that was already packed. That hit me harder than I expected. She'd been ready. We were halfway down the stairs when the bastard's voice cut through the dark. "Well, well, look who decided to show up." He was standing, now, gun in hand, smirk dripping with the kind of arrogance only a bully wears. "You think you're just going to walk in and take what's mine?" He sneered. Emily clung to my side. My voice was calm, level. "She's not yours," he chuckled. "She will be once the court sees who's the real man in this picture." He raised the gun. That's when my training took over. Chapter 4. The take-on time slowed the way it always did in high-stakes operations. My eyes locked on the muzzle of his gun, my mind calculating distance, angle, and speed. He shifted his weight to his right leg. Rookie mistake. I moved. My left hand grabbed Emily, yanking her behind the stairwell wall as my right hand shot forward, slapping his gun wrist upward. The shot went off, deafening in the living room, punching a hole into the ceiling light fixture. Shards of glass rained down, his smirk gone, replaced with surprise. Before he could recover, I slammed my forearm into his throat, driving him backward into the wall with a sickening thud. The bourbon bottle toppled and shattered, its sharp smell filling the air. He tried to swing, but I trapped his arm, twisted, and the gun clattered to the floor. One kick sent it skidding under the couch. "You don't point a weapon at my kid," I growled, my voice low, steady, dangerous. He spat blood, glaring. "You think you can just—" I drove my knee into his gut, cutting him off. He wheezed, collapsing to his knees. "Dad," Emily's small voice trembled. "Let's go." I nodded. This wasn't just about leaving. It was about making sure. He never came near her again. From my duffel, I pulled a thin nylon zip tie and bound his wrists behind his back, cinching it tight enough to make him wayuse. Then another for his ankles. "You'll be found," I said coldly, "but not before you've had time to think about every choice that brought you here." Before leaving, I took his badge and service weapon, both left in a sealed, labeled evidence bag on the kitchen counter with a note. "Internal affairs. Check the basement." Emily's eyes widened. "What's in the basement?" I looked at her and shook my head. "Nothing we ever need to see." We slipped out the back, disappearing into the night just as a siren began to wail in the distance. Not mine, his. By morning, the headlines would explode. Chapter 5. The Fallout. By sunrise, I was sitting across from Emily at a small diner 2 towns over. Her hands were still wrapped around the steaming mug of cocoa like it was a lifeline. I didn't push her to talk, just let her sip in silence until the color started to return to her cheeks. My phone buzzed. Not once, not twice, dozens of times. The first text was from a buddy in the state police. "You didn't hear it from me, but your daughter's stepdad just got picked up by internal affairs." The next one was from an unknown number, a shaky voice note from my ex-wife. Her voice was trembling, frantic. "They took him. They're tearing apart the house, the basement, everything." "Oh my God. I didn't know. Please call me back." She didn't. No. Yeah, right. I'd left the evidence bag for a reason. His badge, his service weapon, and a flash drive. Not mine, his. It held videos, transaction logs, and chat records of the things he'd done to suspects, to colleagues, to people he thought no one would miss. The department moved fast. His name was stripped from the roster by noon. By evening, every news station had his mug shot, flanked by the words, "Disgraced officer under investigation for multiple felonies." But the real twist, they also uncovered a network. Corrupt officers, dirty deals, extortion schemes, and my ex-wife. Her name came up in the wire transfers. Emily watched me scroll through the news on my phone, her eyes wide. "Dad?" Does this mean we're safe? I looked at her, my jaw tightening. We're safer now than we've been in years. That night, I made one more call. Not to the police, not to my ex. To a friend from my unit, a guy who knew how to make certain people disappear from your life without laying a finger on them. Make sure she never comes near Emily again, I said. He didn't ask questions, just replied, consider it done. By the next morning, my ex-wife had been served with a court order, full custody granted to me, no visitation rights, and a freeze on all her accounts, pending investigation. Emily slept in her own room that night, her favorite stuffed animal back in her arms. Before she drifted off, she whispered, "You came for me," I smiled, brushing her hair back. Always, and I meant it. Because now she knew. When you hurt my kid, you don't just lose the fight, you lose everything. Epilogue. The last look. 3 months later, life felt almost normal again. Emily was back in school, laughing with her friends, no more waking up from nightmares. I'd taken a quieter job, consulting, remote work, so I could be home when she needed me. We were walking through the mall one Saturday, hands full of shopping bags and pretzels, when I heard it. A familiar voice, one I hadn't expected to hear outside of a courtroom. Emily. We turned. My ex-wife stood there, pale and drawn, her hair a mess, eyes darting like a cornered animal. She wore a faded hoodie, no makeup, and she looked nothing like the perfectly polished woman she once pretended to be. Emily instinctively stepped closer to me. I could feel her little hand tighten around mine. I just wanted to talk, she stammered. About what? I asked flatly. She opened her mouth, but the moment was interrupted loudly by 2 mall security officers, walking past. One of them glanced at her and smirked. "Hey, you're that lady from the news, right?" The other chuckled. "Yeah, the one who helped her cop boyfriend run his little crime ring." Her face turned crimson. Shoppers nearby slowed down, whispering. Someone even took out their phone. I didn't say a word, didn't need to. I just looked at Emily, nodded toward the exit, and we walked away, leaving her standing there, surrounded by curious stares, trapped in the prison of her own ruined reputation. As we stepped outside into the crisp air, Emily grinned up at me. She looked smaller than I remember. "She is," I said. "Some people shrink when the lies are gone." And with that, we kept walking. No backward glances, no second thoughts. Her world was gone. Ours was just beginning. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you have think about this story in the comments below.